as you would expect, in the past 18 months, a lot has been going around in the energy sector. So you saw a decrease in demand when COVID came in, so a lot of people were on lockdown, but also you see a trend, a very big trend around energy transition to tackle climate change and greenhouse gases emissions. So in that way, the energy sector is transforming itself. And it's transforming itself, let's say, in 6 areas, which is called the 6D strategy. It is becoming more diverse in terms of energy sources. For example, hydrogen is now starting to have a play on the energy ecosystem. More decentralized, because energy is now being produced at the edge on our own. Is becoming more distributed in the sense that there are many distributed energy resources that are now taking a play on the energy sector, like, for example, batteries at our homes, solar panels. And also a lot is going around decarbonization, because you need to achieve those carbon reduction targets. Energy companies are investing a lot on decarbonization their value chains, but also the way they generate energy. It's also becoming more democratized in the sense that any energy person or organization can have a play on the energy ecosystem. We can be prosumers, for example. We can produce our own energy and consume that energy on the same place. And also more digitized in the sense that the digital transformation that can be enabled by cloud technologies, for example, is transforming the way that our energy system is operating. Therefore, technology overall is an enabler of this transition. And if globally we want to achieve the carbon neutrality objective established for 2030 and 2050 period, new technologies need to be introduced. So in that sense, digital plays a critical role on enabling these new technologies to come mainstream, and they need to come fast. So my prediction for the next 18 to 24 months is that green tech will increase relevancy as a hot topic on the energy sector. The transformational requirements needed to achieve greenhouse gases targets are so huge that the industry needs to shift pretty fast. Nevertheless, the industry is composed of very different players. So each player will have different strategies. So for example, on the generation side, we'll be seeing a lot of investing coming from all the energy players, from utilities and energy. On this side, both sectors compete between themselves to secure the next generation assets in wind, in power, in nuclear, or in hydrogen, for example. So we'll see a lot of competition, a lot of M&As, and a lot of investment on this side, and also a lot of portfolio organization as well. Well, in my opinion, today, our energy customers' biggest challenges are aligned with 3 big areas. One around OPEX reduction, especially for those incumbents that on the energy sector. Another area is speed and flexibility. And another area is tackling uncertainty. So incumbents are now competing in a broader and more competitive environment. So today, energy companies are big, but they are facing competition from peers and also new startups and new entrants. And so they need to find ways to maintain the margin they have, because at the end of the day, energy already will not improve. The demand of energy will not increase much more. So in that sense, you need to reduce your costs. So they will be focusing a lot on OPEX reduction. Then we are seeing this a lot on our interactions with energy customers. Another area is around speed and flexibility. So they need to adapt to new business requirements. They have to adapt to new customers' expectations. And also they need to adapt to changes in regulation. And this adaptation, because the energy sector is much more in competition now, needs to be much faster. And also, related with energy transition, energy companies need to rethink completely their portfolio and invest much more on R&D to develop new energy sources, like, for example, hydrogen. And also, they need to spend more on developing new renewable sources if you want to comply with the greenhouse gas objectives. If I had to advise how to use better data in the future, I would say that companies on the energy sector need to break even more the data silos. What we are seeing today is that energy companies are trying to use data to solve very specific challenges or very specific use cases. And that brings the need to bring the data you need for that use case into play. But then it's difficult to have the big picture of what is your energy system or what is your asset. So in that sense, you need to put all the data you have together and understand your energy system on a broader way. So in that sense, there are already some initiatives that companies in the energy sector are building around data lakes. So of course, a lot of our customers already have big data lakes in place, but they fail somehow on connecting the outcomes of those machine learnings or the outcomes of those machine learning models with the business processes. So one thing that I would advise is to try as many as possible to use the outcomes of those machine learning models and automate decision making, automate the processes. So in a way that the processes become more efficient and more resilient. And also, if you start looking into a lot of machine learning models for each use case, now you need to understand what is the master algorithm of a specific asset. So you might have an asset, a specific model that has a digital twin of that asset. Then you have on that asset a digital model that may have your let's say your alarms. Then you have a machine learning model that might have your operation. So you need to connect all those models in order to create, let's say, what is called the master algorithm. So if you can build that master algorithm, in theoretically, that asset could be autonomous. So that's a way that I think companies should try to invest in the future, breaking the silos and try to bring, let's say, these master algorithms into play in order to automate those assets.